So, my name is Charlotte, and today I'm going to be doing my presentation on the different types of parenting types. This was something found in psychology, and it was studied by Diana Baumrind. So, first, I'm going to start off with the four different types. The first type of parent is the authoritarian parent. This parent likes to use force and threats. They set a lot of rules and they expect their children to obey them and don't give much reason. It's very one sided in communication. It's more of you do this because I say so. The next type of parent is the permissive parent. These parents set no limits for their kids. They have few demands of them and are rarely going to use punishment as their form of telling them no because they aren't going to tell them no. These parents let their children do whatever they want, whenever they want, and it's all about them. The next type of parent, which is by far the worst type of parent, is the neglectful, uninvolved parent. These parents are not connected or concerned with their kids at all. They want nothing to do with them, especially for on the level of emotions and connections. They have zero emotional connection to their kid. These parents aren't demanding of their kids. They don't expect anything of them. But they aren't responsive to their kids. There's no communication between the kid and the parent in this relationship because the parents are so careless and have no idea what their kid is doing half the time because they really don't care. The last type of parent that there is the authoritative parent. This is the well-rounded parent. This is usually the best type of parent for there to be. This parent likes to do things face to face. There's a really good two-way communication with these parents. They're demanding and they set limits and rules with their kids, but they have a very good understanding and communication with their kids, where if their kid wants to work around a rule in a certain way, they're going to be open to at least listening to their reasons and why that they think that they should be able to do certain things. They're very much so like, I'm going to tell you what to do, but explain to you why you should be doing it. So as we can see on this slide, there's two types of parents that fall under each of these categories, and some parents share more things in common than others. And I like using this slide because I think that it is a very good eye opener to the fact that, like, yes, it's four different parenting types, but they're all connected in different ways. So the thing about these parenting types is they aren't just brought up randomly. Usually there is a lot that causes parents to parent these ways, so that's what I'm going to talk about next. So usually with an authoritarian parent, a lot of it comes from their nationality or culture. They are very much so like they grew up strict parents, and that's like what they know because of their like culture and their background. And usually like in cultures they don't like to stray from what they know. With permissive parents, a lot of the time these parents hate conflict. They were usually raised by strict parents, so they never wanted to have a conflict or deal with anything face to face with their parents growing up. So they, even though they're the parent now, they still don't want to have face to face conflicts or deal with any situations with their kids. Especially because they were raised by strict parents, they probably experienced failure and sadness a lot and didn't enjoy that part of their lives, and that's something that they don't want their kids to have to go through as well. The next one is the neglectful, uninvolved parent. A lot of the time, this comes from someone who has had poor parenting in the past. They didn't come from a good background, and because of the poor parenting, they were never really taught to deal with their emotions, so they don't cope with things in the right way. So they don't really know how they're supposed to be acting towards their children, so they just choose to not act in any way and just kind of ignore them completely. The Authoritative parent probably grew up with authoritative parents because they liked that parenting lifestyle. That is the one that they chose to go with as well. A lot of the time, authoritative kids grow up to be successful and then be authoritative parents as well. Next, what a lot of parents don't realize is how much the way they parent and the impact that they have on their kids affects their kids, not just like in the short run, but in the long run through their life too, when they like get out into the real world. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is how each parenting style can affect the child and how it affects the child. So the authoritarian parents, since they are so close-minded and it's their way or the highway, their children usually have very low self-esteem. They don't know how to deal with their emotions because they were never taught. They were always just told like what the thing was. They were never explained why. So a lot of the time they aren't good at making decisions. They have a hard time managing their emotions, and a lot of the time they can be overly sensitive and fear when they make a mistake because of how they were treated by their parents when they did make a mistake. The permissive parents can cause their children to be a lot more immature. Their children were never told no, they were never told what was wrong to do and what was right to do. They got away with everything. So it can cause the children to be a lot more aggressive and not understanding, have very poor manners, and very immature when it comes to other people in the real world having power over them and telling them when something is wrong and when they shouldn't be doing something. These kids are very impulsive because they don't know wrong from right. They just do what they want to do and they've always gotten away with it. So when they are impulsive, they don't take personal responsibility for it because growing up, they never had to take personal responsibility for anything. Again, because their parents never told them what they shouldn't be doing. The neglectful parents probably have the children who can turn out the worst growing up through life. They don't always, but it is highly likely that they will because of how their parents had treated them. Their parents didn't really treat them with because of the way that their parents treated them. Their parents never really treated them with any respect. They have very low self-esteem and self-confidence because they were never told that they were good enough. They never felt like they were good enough because even to their own parents, they were nothing. These children usually fail academically because they don't care about anything because they're like, if you're not cared about, what is there for you to care about is their like mindset. A lot of the time these children, because their parents are very neglectful and don't care about them, don't show them any love or respect, they find other people and other things to fill these voids. And a lot of that time, it can be things like drug or alcohol, which can lead to substance abuse problems because they never were able to deal with their emotions, deal with how things were making them feel. If they are finally feeling something from these drugs or alcohol and they like it, or these drugs and alcohol are causing them to not feel the emotions that they don't like, it is more common that they're going to stick to them and keep using them because there's nobody that cares about them to tell them that it's a bad thing to be doing and to get them the help that they need when they need it. And this will really be one of the main things that will affect them further down the line and something that will be very hard for them to let go of and get rid of. And Then the next one is authoritative parents. Usually the children of authoritative parents have it all good. They're usually happy and successful. They have high self-esteem and they see themselves really highly because they were always taught what was right growing up in life, and they were always explained to what was wrong and why the things they were doing were wrong. They got a good understanding of the world and had a firm set of guidelines put down for them at such a young age, and that had made them very responsible. They were able to, these children are usually very able to cope and deal with their emotions very well because as a child, when they felt these different emotions, since there was such a good communication between the child and the parent, they were always able to talk it out, understand why they're feeling this way, what's causing it, and how to fix it. So, usually, like I said before, authoritative parents have kids. Kids of authoritative parents usually grow up to be authoritative parents. So, this is very much so a cycle of a very successful, happy life for the family and the child. And so that's the end of my presentation. And this is just my works cited. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'm willing to answer any questions when I'm back in class if you have any questions or want to email me with anything. But I hope you enjoyed my presentation.